I wanted to shift into the XFL a little bit here. So as you know, everyone knows Vince McMahon is the owner of the XFL. There is no team ownership in the teams that they just recently announced. 8 teams recently. Um, and all of it's owned by Vince McMahon. So that should kind of alleviate a lot of ownership issues that we've here that the NFL is kind of plagued to. They announced 8 teams. The logos are out right now. They look like something that was created out of WordPress, Microsoft Office, or something like that. What's going on, Nickman, aka Atlanta, Spain, man? Thank you so much for joining the stream, brother. Um, the league is set to start in February of 2020. My question to you, Joao, is with this. I mean, we were literally in the red zone, as they say in American football. We are at the 30-yard line, ready to score the goal. Basically, this is about to go live February 2020. We are in that red zone. Is Are we that much closer from both Vince and Shane's role in the WWE as active decision makers? Are we closer to them to that being relinquished and for them to be a full time on board XFL and give the reins of the WWE to Triple H and or whoever else is behind the scenes, Paul Heyman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Are we that close? I mean, is it? Do you think that that's where we're going at this point? Because I feel like I am. I feel like that this is the reason why we're seeing so much Shane as of recent is because this is his swan song. Come WrestleMania, it will be his swan song. He will no longer be an active on-screen persona, and probably I know that he doesn't have any like backstage swing or sway as they say, but I think that we're seeing Shane so prominent now is because I think that he's going to take the realms of the XFL from Vince McMahon once the ink is dry. What do you think?
Here's the thing. We're talking about Vince McMahon. We're talking about a guy that made pro wrestling, mainstream pro wrestling, what it is today. We're talking about a guy who has complete control over most of the shows that WWE puts out. We're talking about a guy that if he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, he'll take a script that's been done and approved by himself, and on the day of the show going on air, he'll rewrite it. That's Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
That's what he's been doing. This is what we've been dealing with. But here's the thing: no one, and Vince barely sleeps, from what I understand, but no one has enough time to run uh, two. And people are saying, "Oh, he's going to get his hands on NXT now that it's on the USA Network." So let's say three television shows, 3 wrestling brands, and then and all the bureaucratic stuff that comes with being a CEO of WWE, and then being involved with the relaunch of the XFL. I mean, you just you, dude has to multiply somehow, and he can't. He wishes he could, but he can't. So something has to give. And here's the thing: what made the original XFL fail? It may rear its head once again. I mean, it's WWE. The money made from WrestleMania, from the Saudi Arabia shows, that's that kind of money, and the shares that Vince and family has been dumping every time they go for a major announcement, because they know the stock's gonna drop and then it's gonna rise again. So which I don't know how that's legal, but I don't know anything about stocks. Um, it's it's WWE money that's funding the XFL, just like it did before. So when things start going south, what's gonna happen? because this is just a hobby for Vince. Vince has his core business, and he's doing the XFL because he wants to get in football.
Well, he's always wanted. It's no secret that he's always wanted to be an owner of a football team. That has always been his core aspiration. If you've read any of his biographies or biopics that they've had out, a shout out to Steven Tejas and Nickman, aka Atlanta, Spain. Real quick, just want to hit the chat real quick here. Steven says that he needs to give the show to Triple H. Nickman says that he doesn't like it when WWE goes to Saudi Arabia, and I'll touch on both of those real quick here, as well as about stocks and stuff like that, because I'm pretty versed in that as well. Your stocks, your ownership in stocks doesn't necessarily equate to creative. How do I say? Doesn't necessarily equate to the decision making in the company directly. Especially if it's a publicly traded company, you usually appoint a CEO who makes those decisions, and like the business decisions. Vince is kind of underneath that a little bit. He's although he has great share control in there. His thing is he's more involved in the creative aspect of it. So that kind of takes care of that piece of it there, man. As far as the XFL is concerned, like you're absolutely right, and I am 100% behind you. There's just no way he can toggle all three. That whole NXT rumor thing, I didn't give it any credence on it, because I just think that's total hogwash. Whoever reported that, there's just no way that if he wanted, the ship has sailed for him to take any type of control over NXT. Like, if he wanted to do that, he would have done that a long time ago. He's in the meetings, but he's given full reign to Triple H to do that, and that's well documented. I really do believe, though, that it's his swan song. Like, this is he's given the gift. The company is self-sustaining. It's got a board of directors. It's got a CEO that's in charge of doing all the directives for the business aspect of it. There's nothing more that Vince needs to do to this, to the WWE. The XFL, though, however, if it's going to have any type of longevity, and we're just being realistic here, Vince is pushing like 80. It only makes sense to push this thing on to Shane. I mean, it really does, especially because it only has one owner. I don't believe it's a publicly traded company. So that's also another reason why you would give it to Shane to succeed him in the event that he can no longer kind of control this aspect of it. So I don't know, man. I mean, this is kind of what I think. Let's see a couple of other things here. Nickman says, I thought WCW wrote their stories ahead of time. Funny how he writes stories while the show goes on, but WCW is the same look, and what happens. Okay, I don't know. Yep, they tried to change WCW, but okay, so that's just banner and WCW there. But yeah, man, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just saying this. Come WrestleMania, I would not be surprised if this is the last that we see of Shane McMahon.
I mean, if you say that to a current wrestling fan, it'll be like, "Oh, thank God, we've been getting so much of Shane lately," which is weird because it's like it was like
when he came back, we wanted him, man. Yeah. We were like, "Yes, we're Shane, we're Shane, we're Shane."
Everyone was like, "Bring him back, bring him back." He came back. Everyone was happy, but that's the thing with overexposure. Yeah. That's what happens. But and also that's what WWE always does when something's good. They push it too far, and then it sucks. And I mean, not that Shane sucks or it's not a bad performance. He's just being the focal point, much like when Goldberg has a match, and instead of giving someone else a shot in the card. And I know Goldberg sells tickets.
He does.
But someday Goldberg won't be able to wrestle. And there's a whole locker room of people that you need to make into stars so that in the future they become themselves draws like Goldberg. And you need to do that when they're at their peak performance. You can't make them stars when they're in their 40s. So there's a lot of people whose talents are just being wasted, and that's the good thing about AEW. Those people can now go like, yeah, I like the money, but I want to do something with my career,
Yeah.
and maybe they'll give me a shot in a different place.
There you
And
go.
companies like New Japan are making that possible as well. Mexico is underrated as a place where people can make a living and working,
Yep.
but it's not for everyone. And it's the thing. I was talking with a friend like last week, and I was like, it was like the year Nakamura came over from New Japan to WWE. It was like 2017, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Ever since then, the wrestling world's gone bananas. It's been crazy ever since. It's been an absolute roller coaster. Ever since 2017, wrestling has just been the most interesting it's been since the Attitude Era. It's just been that good. And as a fan, as a content creator, I love it. Here's something that doesn't interest me, not just because I'm a wrestling fan and I'm not an American football fan, but also because I'm European. I like soccer and not American football, and I don't even care for soccer that much. But
It's all about Hanover '96, baby.
I really don't care about the XFL. And if you tell me that, like it did once before, if the XFL starts affecting the WWE product, and it splits the attention of the person that's in charge, I'm gonna be like, well, screw that. I want wrestling to be good. I don't really care about the XFL. It's not like it's the only football league in the world, and yeah, give WWE to Shane, give it to Triple H, do something. Vince won't last forever,
Right.
but I'm like, it's Vince's baby, and he's like, I want a new baby. Well, damn it, dude, make sure that one's taken care of first.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
know.
we only say this about Vince because he's so involved.
Yeah, he's the staple, man. Like he's
Yeah.
let's not get it twisted, man. We say Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels, for me, Mr. Perfect. We consider them to be the greatest in wrestling history. Let's not get it twisted. If we're doing a Mount Rushmore, as they say, where you have the figureheads of the most famous people in wrestling, you can't have it without Vince McMahon. He is just arguably like the most, not only visible, but he is the pioneer of professional wrestling. And
He's the biggest promoter in the history of professional wrestling.
exactly. I mean, he's done more for this business than anyone else. Is good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's just facts. So, and then let's get into, before we get into Raw, I'm just gonna say, yo, Shane's my boy. I'm a mark for him. I don't care if he's heel or face. I always support my boy. Go get your money, bruh. I know you're going to XFL. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
You're gonna change your name to Sage the Shane Mark?
That's right. Sage the Shane Mark, baby. Here comes the money, baby. All right, man. So let's get into Raw, man. The chat right now.